Hey, this is the GPS Ministry Update. I hope you are doing great. Every now and then it's just good to be back in your computers. And so I just wanted to take a minute to talk about the second semester for GPS and some of the larger calendar items that we've got on tap that I want you to know a little bit more about. The first thing, before we go anywhere, we just want to celebrate the Rooted Winter Retreats. First off, I want to thank you personally for those of you who invested your time, your resources, and your heart into making these weekends what they are. I could not do these things without you and you volunteering and driving and staying in the cabins with your students and loving them and pointing them to Christ and making sure that they understand that they matter to us and matter to God. And so thank you. Thank you also for those of you who scholarship students to go. And so with all of our help, either in the background or in the forefront, we've pulled off a really cool couple of weekends by God's grace and help. And so I want to thank you for that. So we had exchanged lives. I think we had 6 or 7 exchanges over the course of these 2 events, and we had countless rededications of students just getting set on fire about their relationship with Christ and what it means to follow Him in real life. And so God is good, and so it was wonderful to unplug and go out into this bubble called Camp Eagle and just allow God to recharge our batteries. And so I left personally refreshed and excited and more in love with you guys. I love serving with you, and I am so excited and blessed to have you on my team. And so I think GPS is just beyond blessed to have you guys here and to making it what it is. So great weekends. We want to celebrate God and His faithfulness to us on those 2 weekends. Just a couple of big calendar items I wanted to throw out your way. The next thing on our calendar is March 14th through the 17th is our Harlingen mission trip. And so this is the second year that we've done this, and we're going to kind of lock it in for spring break moving forward. So this will become an annual mission trip for our students. We currently have 46 students and adults signed up to be a part of it. So if you have a student who may be on the fence and needs some prodding, I would encourage you to encourage them to do it. It's a great opportunity to give them a first step into going global. The cost is $119, and so we want them to sign up and be a part of it. And so it's just a couple of weeks away, so encourage your students to sign up for it and just let them know what a blessing it will be to go down there to serve folks and to share your faith and what it means to know Christ with those who may never hear otherwise. And so anyway, encourage your students to do that, and I encourage you to jump on board too. If you've got a free weekend, go for it. It's going to be amazing. The next weekend, which is March 22nd, it's a Friday night. We've partnered with Kids Night Out, and we are doing an event called Raising Kids at the Speed of Life. And so if you know someone that doesn't attend Grace Point, invite them to come be a part of it if they have kids. And actually, the younger the younger their kids are, the more value I think that they will find in this parent seminar. And so it's very practical, simple, and it's fun. As we look at our calendars and talk about what it means to manage our calendars and raise kids to be God followers as opposed to our calendars managing us. And so it can easily happen. And so it's fun, and I love teaching this seminar. And so if you haven't been a part of it yourself and you've got kids, come and be a part of it. It's free. And so for a small fee, you can have your kids watched for that night over at Kids Night Out. And we can just kind of come together and talk about what it means to raise kids in 2013. So make sure that's on your calendar, and be sure to invite your friends and those that you know who've got kiddos, because it's going to be a blessing, I believe, to everyone. And so those are just some of the bigger things that I wanted to make sure that were on your calendar. The 2 more things. Another calendar item, which is going to be in July. It's July 14th through the 17th, and that is summer camp. And normally we go to Student Life Camp, but this year we're changing it up, and we're actually going back to Camp Eagle for the camp that we're going to be doing. It's going to be $299 as opposed to last year. It was about $70 more than that. And so we want to make sure that we try to do our best to keep costs at a minimum, but also be able to create and offer a great experience for our students. So it's always this balancing act. But $299 is actually a very reasonable price for a summer camp, especially at one like Camp Eagle. And so encourage your students to sign up. We have 75 spots open. That includes adults. And so if you want to be a part of that week, please jump on board, and you can be an adult sponsor, and we can let you know how you can plug in and do that. Then the last thing, you're going to see in your mailbox, your email box, 2 surveys. The first survey is a small group leader satisfaction survey. This is an anonymous survey, and this is just going to let us know what you think about your navigators and how effective we really are in serving you, because we want to make sure that we are communicating with you clearly and frequently and giving you all the information you need on a week in and week out basis. Are we resourcing you? Are we training you? Are we equipping you to be able to love students well? And so we want to know how we're doing. And so please be honest and be open about how we can better serve you to make sure that you have everything that you need to love students and point them to Jesus. And so it takes about 2 minutes to fill out. And then the second survey is our G5 survey. And if you've been around GPS for a while as a leader, you know that we do these on an annual basis. And this just kind of gives us an idea of where you're at and what you want your next summits to be as you continue to grow in your personal relationship with Christ. The reason why this is so vitally important is because at the beginning of this year, we talked about really two things that we're going to be focused on for 2013. And the first thing is the level of integrity within our leadership. We can never expect or disciple a student to an area that we're not currently going ourselves, or that we're convinced requires our hearts to be submitted in these areas. And so look at your own life and assess yourself honestly. And so that's what this G5 survey is really about, is just saying, hey, you know what? I'm using my gifts, but when it comes to sharing my faith, man, I want to grow that this next year. Or maybe you're just an incredible evangelist, but you struggle with tithing and giving. And so we want to talk with you about those things, because we have a responsibility as leaders to lead our students with full integrity. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because if we want to continue to grow spiritually, and we want our students to grow and become mature followers of Christ, so they in turn can make new disciples, we have to disciple them well. And the best way we can disciple a student is to live it out. That's what Jesus did when he discipled his disciples. He lived it out as an example of what it looks like. And then, of course, Paul tells Titus, he says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. And so as disciplers, we're in essence called to do the same thing. We're expecting our students to look to us, whether we feel like we're worth it or not, or worthy of it. And we're saying, hey, look at us. Look at me as an example, so you can follow my example. And so the G5 kind of helps us discern where we're at in these areas that the Bible mandates that we should be pursuing and growing in. And so take a moment, fill out the survey. It's about 2 minutes, and that way when your navigator sits down with you, y'all can talk about your next summits of growth here at Grace Point, so we can make sure that our integrity is strong and we are living out what we're expecting our students to live out. The second thing is in the area of stewardship, and obviously what I'm talking about there is stewarding the amount of guests that God brings through our doors. God is just amazed me as I look back over the last 3 years. We've had over 1,000 first-time guests here come through these doors in this building, and I can't help but to remember the prayer that Larry prayed. I guess it was about a year ago, that God would bring 1,000 students to our building. And the fact is God already has. God answered that prayer before Larry prayed it. And so we have a responsibility to steward those guests in a way that would let them know that they really do matter. And so if God's going to bring them to us, we have a responsibility to steward them. And so we work hard to putting in these processes to make sure that a student knows that they matter and that they're connected with, and that we can get them plugged into small groups. Because small groups truly is the lifeblood and the backbone of this ministry. And so it's vitally important that we steward those things. And so we're working on better processes to make sure that students feel connected with, and we're stewarding who it is that God has brought to this building. And so if we can focus on shoring up those two things this year, we are going to be setting ourselves up for tremendous success in the future, probably starting in the next school year. And so these are some things that we need to work on internally so we can go external and make a true impact in this next generation. And so you're a part of that story. So anyway, just know that I love you. Be looking for those surveys, fill them out, and have them completed by this Friday, the 22nd, and we will be just moving on. And so just know that I love you guys, and I'm honored to serve with each and every one of you.
So your life